Hello, it's Oopsy Daisy. I'm Ashley.
And it's me, Vanessa.
It's been a while, like a really long while.
You mean like 80 years?
Yeah, I mean, we say this like every episode. I hate for the person who's like who listens to our podcast like in a row, and they're just like, "Sorry, it's been a while. Sorry, it's been a while. Sorry, it's been a while." And to them, it's just been like another hour or something.
Yeah. No, it's been like I feel like it's been 10 years.
Well, I moved in May, so it was before that.
Yeah, it had to be over it has to be over like 5
In
months.
like March or April at the latest.
You know what? I'll do us a favor. Let me check. Let me
Okay.
check when the last episode was posted.
We're doing this podcast currently the weekend before American Thanksgiving.
April.
Yeah, it's April. So hopefully this gets out to you before the end of the year. Could be a nice holiday gift.
God. I mean, we did record one, but it was such a hot mess that we just
It was. We recorded one, I think, when I first moved here, or right before I moved here. And when I was like putting it together, I'm like, nothing. This is so boring. This episode. I'm like, we had one thing going in. We're like, we're gonna talk about how Daisy and what was it? What's that movie called?
The Cutting Edge.
The Cutting Edge, and how the Cutting Edge AU. But we stopped talking about it after like 15 minutes.
I don't even know. We just exploded into another dimension. It made no sense.
I mean, it was good concept, but not enough for a whole episode.
It is, yeah. It could have been a mini episode released, a 15-minute episode.
Yeah. But yeah, so I moved. I was officially starting my new job. I graduated with my graduate degree.
Oh, snap.
So no more school.
That's a lie. You're going to take another course. You always do.
No, I do not want to anytime soon. That's just...
She says as she clicks enroll.
No, I'm already too much in debt. I'm not doing that anymore. Not right now. So yeah, a lot has happened. I've been doing stuff like almost every weekend with my family and everything. And then the one time I was free, Vanessa had Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's true.
So now we're here.
Now we're here, living the dream.
And one person, I think at least one person keeps sending us stuff on our Tumblr. And they're just like, I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay.
I hope you lead to get you guys meet.
And we're okay. I promise. It's just that I am never on Tumblr.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm never on Tumblr. And the few times I am on Tumblr, it's like very far in between. I haven't been on in like 2 months just because I didn't feel like logging back in.
Did you finally log back in?
Yeah, because I knew we were doing the podcast.
Thank God.
So, but I was like, because I had to change my password. I didn't know my password. And I think they got rid of the magical link that they used to have.
Oh, okay.
Because you used to just be able to hit the magical link. That would go to your email, and then you could just log in.
Yeah.
But I haven't known my password for like 2 years.
Oh, good.
So
that's why you write it down and have a list by your computer so you know.
No, I'm good.
But yeah, no, like, what have I been doing? I've been playing too much Dungeons and Dragons. I've been playing too much D&D. Then my friends are like, you should host a D&D game. And I was like, what? I don't know what to do. But here I am, researching, coming up with a story idea for D&D, but it's in Harry Potter land.
Oh, gosh.
So that's fun. That's what I've been doing.
I've never played D&D just because it intimidates me. The whole concept of it is very intimidating.
It is because, like, you gotta role play, and that's the hard part for me. It's just like, how do I get into the mindset of this character? And it's
Harry Potter doesn't sound like it'd be that bad.
See, that's the easy part because everyone's human. You just choose your house and go from there.
Yeah, because I know, like, from the few like media things that I've seen with Dungeons and Dragons, mainly like Stranger Things.
Yeah.
It's like the Demogorgon, and I'm like, what the fuck is a Demogorgon?
Yeah. That's pretty much the sums up the game. And was it? And then I went to like a thing yesterday and I was talking about beer and they're like, you should start a beer podcast. And I was like, no, I can't even do this.
Well, if you did a beer podcast, that'd be one thing, but someone would have to edit it for you.
Exactly. I'll just send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sometimes takes me forever to edit. All right, so today we are going over the episode Misadventures of Babysitting. Misadventures in Babysitting.
You know what? I'm pretty sure I watched this 8 months ago when we were supposed to record. And then I was like, oh, I've watched this already. And I was like, yeah, I know everything that's happening.
Well, I watched this obviously before anyway. But yeah, so we were going to do this, I think, last month.
Not last
at one point.
Yes, last month. Yes, you're right. And that's when I watched it.
And then I watched like the first 2 minutes. And then Vanessa was like, oh, wait, no, I can't do it today.
Yeah, because I randomly got invited last second to Thanksgiving. And I was like, oh no, it's my second Thanksgiving in 2 days.
So I watched the first 2 minutes and I made notes on the first 2 minutes. So all I had to do was watch 20 minutes worth of an episode.
Yeah.
It still took me like an hour.
It's okay. I watched it twice. So I've watched over 40 minutes of the same episode.
Well, then you'll know it very well, Vanessa.
Oh my god. What if I just have like PTSD and I just blind it all out?
So this episode is essentially what Derek and Casey would be like as parents.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean,
that's the episode.
You know, they're still getting there's kinks out, you know. But okay, so the episode starts at school with Emily going to Casey and asking her if Max called her because apparently there were a lot of gazes happening. Derek then comes into school wearing sunglasses and a black bucket hat, looking like he's trying to hide from something. And then Casey said he's probably trying to avoid Kendra since they broke up again the night before. Now, this is like the second episode of the third season. I think this is where they like get out of order again for some of them because I'm pretty sure in like a future episode they're not broke up.
Ugh, God, I love continuity or whatever that term is.
Whatever Family Channel or Disney Channel was doing when then they were airing these, they were just like, we don't care.
We don't care. What's that noise?
Continuity? What is that?
Yeah, I fucking can't. Let me see. What episode is it? Oh my god, it is the third episode. What have we done with our lives?
What?
It's so much more episodes to go.
Oh, I know, because this season has 23 episodes? 20, yeah, I think something like that. Then
Jesus.
season 4, I think, has like 18,
Okay.
19. And then there's the movie.
The movie.
Again, even if we did a podcast every month, we'd still be doing this for a couple years.
You can't see my face right now, but I had the most disgusted and exhausted face. It's like, no, I don't hate doing this, but just the thought of it lasting that long and not,
We have way more gray hair, and we're like, we have glasses. Our hearing has completely gone.
I mean, your hearing's gone. You have like,
well, yeah, my hearing's already pretty bad, but it's like we're here on episode 402.
I'm 80 years old, and I got lumbago. God,
it's not even on YouTube and like all these things anymore. It's
YouTube
like
doesn't exist anymore.
It's like on some like hologram type of like kind of like.
It's in our glasses.
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google this right now. Just a second.
Google what?
Oh no, Life with Derek is not on Disney Plus
because they aren't Disney.
So I could never watch it there. I mean, I thought it was just because
Disney acquired it to play it, but it isn't technically Disney.
See, that's why I thought it was, because all I'm seeing is like The Sweet Life. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's a bomb-ass show.
I would love if they were just like, hey, give us Life with Derek to put on Disney Plus, please.
What? They made a movie?
Yeah. Vacation with Derek.
No, Sweet Life.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know this. I'm looking at it now.
I remember I watched that.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I'll have to watch that later. But then it would make me go back into the phase where I was obsessed with Sweet Life, and I'm not 12 anymore.
Randomly, yesterday or the day before, I was watching like clips of like, funny scenes from like Disney days. And it had the Prindle scene from Sweet Life. And it had just a bunch of other stuff from like Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, and like Liz McGuire. Like it was, I was just like going back in time, man.
I love it. I love it.
So anyway, back to life with Derek.
Yes, this is why we never posted the other episode. FYI, it's this bullshit right here.
So anyway, Max then walks by, and Casey calls out to him. And Emily asks if he's made any weekend plans. And then Max looks very uncomfortable, and he quickly leaves, leaving Casey very confused. So Max is acting shady as hell.
I mean, he is shady as hell. That hair? No, that's douche hair. I saw someone with hair like that recently, and I was like, what are we? 2005?
That was a very old haircut. Anyway, and then it takes you to the living room with Derek and Edwin. The phone rings, and we hear Casey shout from upstairs if it's Max. Edwin tells her no, but turns to Derek, telling him it's Kendra. Again, Kendra's been calling over and over again, trying to talk to Derek. So Derek tells him that he knows the drill, so Edwin proceeds to tell Kendra that he's programming his VCR.
Yeah, that's a very delicate job to do, and I understand why he can't speak and do that at the same time. It's very difficult.
But Derek's like, we don't have a VCR anymore.
What year is this now for that show?
This is like 2007.
Yeah, I guess.
So, but I felt like I still had a VCR, because we had a dual one where it had a VCR and a DVD player.
Ooh.
So we had those. So we kind of still used the VCRs for a little bit. I feel like it wasn't until maybe like 2012-ish when we stopped.
It's ridiculous.
Using VCRs completely. And the thing about it is not that long ago. I mean, it's still kind of like a decade, but it doesn't seem that long ago that we were still using VCRs to do stuff.
It's true.
Okay, so Edwin then asked Derek what Kendra may want, and Derek says she probably wants to get together with him again. Edwin says that she seems to know she's being avoided and it seems wrong, but Derek's like, what's right? What's wrong? Like, he doesn't care.
Well, he's not a dude. He has no feelings, remember? He doesn't do feelings.
George and Nora come in, and George is saying to Nora, like, hey, let's go away for the weekend. And Nora's like, okay, but who's going to watch the kids? So George goes upstairs, and he goes to Casey, and he tells her that he wants to take Nora out for the weekend, but, like, she needs someone to watch the kids. And Casey said that it might help distract her from her emotional turmoil. Which is, aka Max. She's so freaking dramatic.
Did she go write some poetry about it?
I'm sure she did. Did.
Probably.
So then, George is like, okay, great, yeah. If it will help you distract you from your emotional turmoil. He, like, again, doesn't care. And Casey's like, well, it would also probably be a good opportunity to use the parenting tips from that parenting magazine you guys never read.
Mm-hmm.
Why does she want to use parenting tips?
Parenting tips are what she needs. She needs that order in her life. You know
She's
that.
She's 16 years old.
Listen, she probably has, like, 10 kids that no one knows about. And that's why she's reading
16?
A magazine. Yeah. They're all twins.
No, she had like a couple triplets or whatever.
No. It's like that show on TLC, when they had like 8 kids in one birth.
Quadruplet, Octomom.
Yeah, she octomommed it.
Oh dear.
That's why.
And Nora never knew about it, or is that the real reason Dennis left?
It's the real reason.
Oh my god.
He has all the Octo kids.
Lizzie's
hiding
one
them
of her
away.
kids.
Just can't. Just can't.
But anyway, Casey, I don't know why you're reading that stuff, but okay. And then Derek comes out just as she's agreeing to it, and George is like, hey, and Derek can help as well. And Derek's like, can't, I have plans. And then Casey's like, yeah, avoiding Kendra's not plans. And of course, George is kind of confused, and Derek's like, oh, we broke up for real now. And he's saying he wants to avoid all the tears and the
feelings.
The feelings.
Always.
And Casey's like, you're a cad. And then George is like, or sensible.
Let's Google what cad means. I think I know what it means, but I want the readers and viewers and listeners to know. And I don't know why I said viewers. A person who behaves dishonorably. It is a noun, especially towards a woman. Her adulterous cad of a husband. Please use it in a sentence.
Well, that does describe Derek pretty well.
Yes.
But George isn't any better.
It's true.
But then George quickly realizes he said something wrong. So he's like, but you will be talking to Kendra. And you will help Casey out since you will be here this weekend. Oh, boy. Then it cuts to, I guess, maybe the next day. George and Nora are leaving. Nora seems like she's a nervous wreck, and she's reminding them all what to do. She's like, Edwin, don't play too many games. Lizzie, remember to do this. Marty, be safe. And I could just totally see Casey doing this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, again, showing you how Derek is so much like George. And Casey is so much like Nora.
It's the parallel.
Just within those two scenes, you could just see how parallel they are.
Yeah.
And what's even better is in this episode, you see them essentially playing parents.
Yes, you do.
To the kids.
And it's horrible.
So, because they both try to keep doing it solo. But I feel like once they, let's get ahead of ourselves. But I think once they can, kind of merge everything, it's fine. If they work together, it's good.
Work together.
Once they leave, everyone looks like they're going to go off and do their own things. But Casey stops them and saying, she has something fun planned. And so the first thing that the magazine says is to plan healthy snacks and meals. So junk food is not as tempting. And then she just smacks a whole load of celery and carrots on the counter.
Listen, it's a well-balanced
even
meal.
Edwin's like, we're not gerbils.
It's true.
Casey, they said plan this stuff. So, cut up some of the stuff. Put them in little containers. Maybe give them, ranch or some type of dressing or, peanut butter. Something.
Listen, I love a good ranch dip. And this is what proves more is Casey's a sociopath because she doesn't like ranch dressing with her veggies. And only a sociopath does that.
Well, but still, she's not taking things literally. I mean, she's taking things too literally. She's not planning it. She's just like, oh, vegetables.
Oh my god.
I think when I hit the table, it somehow stopped recording, so I...
Just hands up. Hands up. We're gonna podcast with your hands up at your head the whole time. That's all you're gonna do. Just work those arm muscles and hold them up. Anyway, I feel like Casey thought it was one of those cooking instructional videos where it's throw down the vegetables and they magically are chopped. She probably thought that was happening.
Those weren't even around then, I don't think so. But
listen, she thought.
She's a witch, so she thought maybe her magic abilities would start taking over, but they didn't.
They didn't.
Oh, Casey.
Classic Casey.
But then the doorbell rings, and Derek comes down into the kitchen and gets money since the pizza is here. And all the kids run to Derek to eat some of that, because obviously that's more fun than just plain celery and carrots. And then a little bit later, Casey has all the kids in the living room again, and they said they're going to play her favorite game, Spinning Wheel of Fun. But all the activities on that wheel, which the wheel is just a paper plate
No!
with like an arrow.
No!
All the activities are chores, like doing the dishes and like other stuff like that. And the kids are like, "What? We're not doing this." And she's like,
so
"What?
much.
The fun part is that you have no idea what chore you'll do."
Doesn't matter which. Oh my god, what's happening?
It's still going, but it's saying like it lost connection to the server. Take 3.
Fucking take 3. My god.
And then the kids are like, "We don't want to do that. That's not fun." And then Derek comes bounding down the stairs, and he gets chips, and he turns on the TV, and he's like, "I'm just gonna eat chips and watch TV." And Casey's like, "Derek, you should at least use a plate." So he's like, "Yeah, you're right." So he steals Casey's plate, which had the Wheel of Fun on it, and he's watching TV, and so the kids start joining and watch with him. And Casey's like, "Guys, stop being couch potatoes. It's a beautiful sight out day. It's beautiful outside today."
Beautiful outside today.
It's
Use your
beautiful
words.
outside today. So let's go to the park and like exercise. And all the kids are still just like watching TV. She turns the TV off, but then Derek just turns it back on with the remote. And then she puts her hands on her hips, and she's like, "Derek, can I speak to you in private?"
I just love how she's like, I can turn this off, and there's no way him having the remote can change that.
Like she forgets that like he has another means of like putting it on.
Yeah.
And then so as Casey leaves, Derek's then like, "Oh no, Mom Junior's mad at me."
Oh no.
They're too married.
They are. They're this show dough.
Once they're both in the kitchen, Gacy.
Gacy. What's with you in making up new names for people?
So once they're both in the kitchen, Casey tells Derek to stop undermining her authority, to which Derek is like, "What authority?" And Casey tells him to leave, which Derek says he won't be going anywhere, mainly because he can't be seen in public because he doesn't want to see Kendra.
Just go to places she would never go. Simple.
Like the mall.
No, she would go to the mall. She would go there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't go to the mall. Like,
yeah, go to like.
But then again, it's just like, really, you're basically he's making it harder on himself by not being able to leave, by not talking to her. Like, Derek, just freaking talk to her already. You're gonna have to see her eventually. You go to the same school. I wouldn't be surprised if they had like the same classes. Like,
here's the thing: is I like how easy they make it for the fact that like he won't leave because he can be seen, but if you don't leave, she knows exactly where you are.
Yeah, I'm surprised she hasn't come to the house already.
Yeah, it's just
like,
easy.
After he keeps like denying and calling her, like, I'm surprised she just doesn't show up and be like, "Hey."
Yeah.
Like, if she's that persistent.
Yeah.
Everyone's too polite in this town. No, it's Canada, so that makes sense.
Yes, we
just
know
don't
that.
show up unannounced. So he doesn't want to be seen in public. The phone then rings, and he said if it's Kendra, he's not here. Marty answers the phone, though, and she's like, "Oh, Derek's not here." And Edwin takes it and says he's meditating.
He's out on the mountain somewhere in Ontario meditating.
I can see maybe older Derek doing this. Meditating?
I don't.
Like, it's like, that's kind of like the last straw he has during college.
I
and then like, he ends up just like kind of getting into it.
No.
Maybe Casey forces him to like something and he like kind of gets into it. But at this point, no. I would never see Derek like get into it.
No, I don't believe so. I could never see it happening.
I think he would have to be in a completely different headspace. Like, that's why I say in college, if anywhere. Like I'm saying, like someone would have to force him to go, or he would have to go to a session because he thinks like a hot like girl's there or
Okay,
something.
that's the only way he would go. It's the only
Right. But then
believable
like I
way.
could see him being like, oh, that wasn't that bad. But I don't
Sus.
think he would just up and start doing it. But yes. Casey then says if Derek isn't leaving, then she will. There is no reaction. The kids are still watching TV. Though it looks really boring. It was like someone like skiing or something, right?
Yeah, it was skiing, and I was like, how is that entertaining
They look like
in one
so
bit?
mesmerized by it. They're like, oh,
Man,
snow, people going down.
my goodness, we don't have that anywhere in Canada.
Yeah, right? No one cares if she leaves. So then Derek is basically like ushering her out the door. He gives her her coat. It's like, yeah, and bring home more chips when you leave. Or when you come home.
My goodness, we are in a place right now.
Yeah. So then the kids celebrate. They're happy because the boring Casey, who's also bossy, just left, and now they're with fun Derek. Yay! And then so Casey and Emily then go to Smelly Nellie's. And Casey is telling Emily that she doesn't understand why the kids didn't love the Wheel of Fun. It was her favorite when she
How?
was a kid.
Okay, I don't even know how this works. Who introduced it to her as a child? Who?
I feel like it has to be Nora of what we know of Dennis.
Know what? Know what? Maybe it's Felicia. Felicia did it.
That would make sense because my thing is that like Lizzie is also not into it.
Yeah.
Like it just seems like something that only Casey was brought up with, and I don't know if that's just because maybe Nora had more time with Casey when it was just Casey.
God, she was
To the point whenever
indoctrinated.
they did have Lizzie, like it wasn't something they implemented too much because she was too young.
No,
And
the
then her and
brainwashing.
Dennis
Ugh.
divorced, and it just became something that just didn't happen, or Casey's just an oddball and was still the only one that liked it. I don't know.
I hate it so much.
But it's just, that's just very interesting to me. Well, it would make sense if Alicia did it.
Yeah, Felicia did it.
Like when they're at the camp, and
Yeah.
she's like, Casey, we have the Wheel of Fun now!
Spin the wheel!
And then she's like, oh, can I do it a couple times?
Yes. Spin the wheel! God, I hate it so much.
So then Emily points out that Max is here. Ooh.
Ooh.
Then we're back at the house. It goes back and forth a lot throughout this episode.
Yeah.
But we're back at the house. Marty asks for Derek to read to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, sure, give me the TV listing.
That's a very enthralling thing, you know?
And then Derek asks if Derek could take him to Teddy's. But Derek says no. Then Lizzie asks him if he wants to play soccer. But he tells them that he doesn't want to do anything that takes him outside the house. But Derek, one, reading to Marty's not going to take you outside the house. Two, taking Edwin to his friend's house means one less kid you have to worry about. And you're going directly from your house to that kid's house, then back to your house. You're just dropping Edwin off.
Yeah, impossible.
And unless Teddy lives right next door to Kendra, I mean...
Impossible.
And Lizzie, you could just play in your goddamn backyard with her.
Impossible.
So unless Kendra's stalking you outside, which, I mean, that could happen.
It's possible.
It's just, it's just like you could do all of these things. You just don't want to. So just stop lying and just being lazy. But anyway, he says that he's in charge now, and they only have one rule. And that means there's no rules. And that it's every kid for themselves.
Every kid for themselves.
And he said if they want to do something, then one can do their laundry, one can do his clean his room, and then he was asking Lizzie to get nail clippers, to potentially do his toenails.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. Disgusting.
And of course the kids are like, no!
What do you mean? It's such an honor. No. No.
So the kids, they're bored, they're not liking it. So Edwin's like, well, if the fun won't be here, then we gotta bring the fun to us. So then back at Smelly Nellie's, Emily and Casey are hiding behind menus, as one does.
As one does.
I guess it's a little better than wearing a blonde wig. Considering they weren't prepared for this.
Do you remember when they were the tag team duo of being creepers and they like pulled out binoculars in the middle of school in the hallway? And they were just creeping in the hallway with binoculars.
I can see them doing that here, even if they had it. Like, Emily just in her purse has like these big ass binoculars, and then they're like, "What's he eating?"
So yeah, no, I think they would be more subtle this time and get like little opera binoculars.
We've learned our lesson. We've upgraded.
Yeah, we gotta be more incognito, little opera glasses.
Okay, so Emily, yeah, they're hiding behind menus, and Emily is trying to convince Casey to go over and talk to Max. So Casey's like, yeah, you're right, I should go over. And then once he stands up, of course, another girl comes and sits down next to Max. Ooh. But then at the house, Edwin lets in his friend, Teddy. And this is the first time I think we've seen Teddy. I think he's only in the series twice.
Heck yeah.
But this is the first time we've seen of him. And he's letting him in from the back door. And then he asks Teddy if he could use his skills to stop Derek from being such a party pooper. Then the next scene is that we see Derek sleeping on his chair. But as the camera pans out, we see that he has been tied up by a bunch of blankets and ropes. And he wakes up and he's like, What is this? Who are you? And Teddy's like, I'm your worst nightmare and biggest fan.
Teddy's a creeper, man.
He is very creepy. But he's basically an eviler, smaller, I think, Derek.
No, he's just a demon. I hated him.
Yeah, he's like a little demon.
I was like, I don't like you. Get out of here.
So then Casey is even more in emotional distress after seeing Max with that other girl.
Yes.
And Emily is trying to reassure her, like, maybe they're just friends hanging out. And then, like, right as she says that, of course, they, like, start holding hands. And, of course, Casey is just so upset. And then back with Derek again, Teddy is telling him that he knows all about his cons and his lies, that Derek is what inspired Teddy. So Derek tells him to untie him so he can inspire him some more.
No. I cease and desist.
But Teddy is determined to break Derek.
No.
So first, he has Marty tickling Derek. And Derek is, like, going crazy a bit, because he's just, like, you can see him, like, wanting to cry almost because of how much he's getting tickled. And yeah. Teddy's like, oh, Derek, do you want her to stop? And Derek's like, no! No! Keep going, Marty! Keep going!
No. Teddy is a psychopath.
Yeah.
God, what is this show?
He looks like he's ready to crack right there, but he holds his resolve.
No.
So then Teddy, Edwin, and Lizzie stand in front of him with food from his secret stash. And then Derek's like, how did you know about that? And Teddy's like, oh, I'm in your head. A little sociopath right there.
This show, like, I wonder if they, like, went into this going, like, how many sociopaths and psychopaths can we make? Because it seems like every character that comes in here has some sort of, like, issue.
Yes, that is very true.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Casey's just trying to get everyone to eat up straight up like celery and like
Oh.
like it's not even like celery, it's just like the huge ass celery stalk she just puts onto the counter. That like makes me crack up.
Yeah. It's fucking boom. Eat it.
Yes, like eat the whole damn thing.
God, I'm not a big fan of celery.
I don't mind celery if it's like with ranch. Like
I
that's
don't
good
mind
to
it,
me.
but like there's something about like you bite into it and then it's like stringy on the inside. It's just weird. It's weird mouthfeel, okay?
Okay.
You wouldn't understand, you're not a foodie.
No. I'm
No.
not. So the next they're eating out of Derek's secret stash. And then Teddy's like, "Oh, but we have a snack for you, Derek." And they bring out a plate of broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Derek really doesn't like broccoli. And so he's just like, "Oh, I love broccoli.
False.
Give me some." And then he takes like a really like big bite of it, and then he's just like, "Oh, so crunchy." Broccoli's not that bad.
No, it's not. It's good.
I like it with some seasoning.
I don't need seasoning. I can just be like, look at this. Yum
Like
yum.
eating it plain's a little blah.
Yeah,
But if you put some like, I forget what's it, the Tuscan seasoning that that one of the bags from the store has. It's so good.
I can just even have it like salt and pepper on it and I'm fine. It's good.
I could eat like a lot of that if of that kind of broccoli. It's so good. So in a final act of like to kind of break Derek, they put on a boring animal documentary. And then Derek's like, "Oh, do you have part 2 of this documentary?" And then Teddy's just like, "Ah, Eddie, go back to Eddie.
Eddie. Go back to Eddie.
Edwin, let's go back to the diabolical room." But then at Smelly Nellie's, Casey gets a call from her cell phone. It's Derek. And then Derek's asking her if she'll be home anytime soon. She's like, "Why? Are the kids okay?" But then Max chooses that point in time to come up to her table. So then, of course, she's just like, "Bye, Derek," without even like any second thought. And like Max is like, "Oh, Casey, what are you doing here?"
Spying on you with my opera binoculars.
And then Emily leaves to give them to privacy.
She's hiding in a corner with binoculars?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, she probably is. But back at home, you see Derek barely keeping the house phone next to him. And he's like, "Casey, Casey," and then the phone just like falls.
How did he get the phone to begin with?
One, okay, yeah, how did he get the phone? But you know how he had to have called the number though, right?
Like his nose?
I was thinking his tongue.
That too. That was like my two
Either
options.
way.
Just they're going.
Yeah. But then Edwin suggests maybe they should let go of Derek. But Teddy says they need to break Derek because if they don't break Derek, Derek's going to break them. And then Edwin's like, "Oh yeah, we have to get him." So, at this point again, the telephone rings. Again. It's Kendra. Again. And at this point, I'm really wondering, I'm like, is it really worth it, Kendra, to keep calling? Like,
just go to his house.
But anyway, then Eric's like, Eric. Oh my god, I cannot say Edwin's name today.
You're struggling so hard. It's ridiculous.
Eddie, Eric.
Don't forget your favorite, Edwin.
Uh, so then Edwin seemingly gets this idea, and he tells Kendra, but you know what? Derek's a little tied up right now. Like, literally. And he's like, but he said if you called to invite you over. So finally, this is kind of Derek's biggest weakness, was what Teddy was saying that they needed to do. So this is what his biggest weakness is. Not long after, the doorbell rings. It's Kendra.
Ooh.
And then Derek is like, what? No, you didn't. And then he said, Kendra, I was going to call you, but I'm a little tied up right now and I haven't been able to. And Kendra was like, this is perfect since now we can talk.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, she understands why they didn't work out. They're both not relationship type people, which the hell, yeah, they're not.
What do you mean? They're totally perfect.
Oh, God. And so she's like, you know, I understand why we didn't work out, but it's like, I thought we were still friends. And Derek's like, well, I could still be your friend. I just don't want all the tears and all of the, you know, feelings and everything. And then Kendra starts crying. Or, like, you know, and then she's just like, oh, I'll miss our relationship despite you being so selfish and inconsiderate.
True. It's
Good
true.
little jab there, Kendra. Good little jab. And then as she starts to leave, Derek's like, oh, hey, you forgot to untie me. And she's like, no, I didn't. And then she leaves.
And I love
that
how
has to be like one of my favorite like things about her from this series, because I just think that's perfect.
I just love how he just randomly escapes.
Yeah. So right afterwards, he's squirming and everything, and then all of a sudden his hand just comes out, and he's like, ooh.
He's like, haha, got you, bitch.
But he pretends he hasn't escaped. So the kids come back, and they're like, all right, so Edwin and Lizzie are like, we think we should let Derek go. And Teddy's like, what? And he's like, well, he should still apologize first. And Derek's like, sure, but what am I apologizing for? And, you know, Teddy was like, well, you've been a really bad babysitter. And then Edwin, of course, is like, well, Casey wasn't that good either. But then Derek's like, oh, well, I'm sorry that Teddy sucks at tying knots. And then he comes out of all the blankets to show he's been free. And then he runs after the kids. Now we're back at Smelly Nellie's.
Ugh.
And Max is now sitting with Casey. And he's telling her that the girl was his ex-girlfriend, Amy, who we will see in a later episode.
Oh, will we?
Though I don't think it's actually the girl that they use later.
Oh.
And that Amy wanted to get back together with him. And of course Casey's like, oh, okay. But then Max is like, but I told her that I met someone new, as he takes Casey's hand. And then Casey's like, who?
As a psycho does. Who the fuck is she? I will kill her.
And then she's like, oh, me. And then she's like, wait, it is me, right? And he's like, yes, it's you.
Yes,
and
you dumb bitch.
Maybe this is a bad mistake already.
Yeah, he's like, maybe I made a mistake.
And then, you know, Max is saying that he really likes her and he thinks they should, but then he gets interrupted by Casey's cell phone again. She opens it only to immediately close it right away. And it was Lizzie this time, because Lizzie, Edwin, and Teddy are hiding in the games closet from Derek. They are scared out of their minds. And then it goes back to Casey. Max is still trying to tell her, you know, that he likes her and all this stuff, but then she gets interrupted again by another phone call. But this time it's Marty. And that gets cut off, and it worries Casey enough that she's like, I have to go. She's like, but I'll be right back. You stay right here, Max. You stay. It'd be a
You know
good
what it
little
is?
dog.
She's like, there's a serial killer in that house, and it's not me. She like runs off.
Casey then runs into the house and she sees Derek. She's like, what's going on? And are the children okay? And Derek's like, oh, the kids are far from okay. And then the kids all come down and like from their hiding spots and they go to hug Casey and hide behind her. And she's like, what have you done to the children?
They're traumatized.
And then Derek's like, I haven't done anything yet. But they did something to me. And then she's like, well, Edwin said that they only did what they had to do because you wouldn't get off the couch. And then Casey yells at him, and Derek says that, you know, she was the one left in charge, but she left because they wouldn't listen to her. And she's like, well, they would have listened to me if it wasn't for you. But then Lizzie was like, well, actually, no. Because you're really bossy and Derek's really lazy.
Put them together.
But put them together and there might be a perfect babysitter right there.
Yes.
I could see it. But then Derek looks like he's like 2 seconds away from a psychotic break.
I mean,
like he just looks like his brain is about to explode. And then he's like, you know what? Marty didn't tickle my feet. And you guys didn't tie me up. And I didn't eat broccoli.
Oh, God forbid.
It's like, none of this happened. This day didn't happen. And then he's just like, we can all just agree this is all a secret between all of us. So they all agree to just never talk about this day ever again and to pretend that all of it didn't happen.
You know what?
What?
That's a mood.
So after he was done, he was like, you know what? I'm going to have some pizza and milk of and milk of the chocolate variety.
Oh, that's
and
a
then
mood.
He goes to leave. That's what I used to have basically every Friday at school.
You're just like, I'm going to treat myself
pizza
with
and chocolate
milk. So good.
You don't understand how weird it is to drink milk after you've already left school. Because I feel like you were given milk for every meal at school.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always used to have chocolate milk or strawberry milk. I never had regular milk. But it's just such a weird thing now to think about. Like, I had pizza with milk. I had other things with milk. It just doesn't seem like it should go, but we did. I would eat it every day for lunch, so.
I love milk. I wish I had milk, but I don't. But I also wish I had some nog.
I have eggnog, too.
I love eggnog. I had some eggnog last night with some rummy rum at my friend's. Amazing.
I like putting a Fireball in eggnog.
Just shut your face. No one likes Fireball. Get your face out of here.
No, it's good. My dad loves Fireball. So he put some into the eggnog and he's like, ooh, try it. So I tried it and it's like really good. I loved it.
No, I'm sorry. You have been expelled from this friendship. Fucking
well,
Fireball.
You love beer and I hate beer, so.
Fireballs.
I don't think I would ever
take a poll.
I don't think I could ever drink Fireball just straight up, but with the eggnog, it was good.
Taking a poll. Is Fireball good or is Fireball bad? Answer below. That's it. There's the new. Let me just put that in the Twitter poll right now. No context. No context for them. They'll understand when they listen.
So once it looks like everything has settled down, Casey races back to Smelly Nellie's, where Max is still sitting there. He was a good boy, good Maxie. And he was like, you've been gone for like an hour. And she was like, well, 57 minutes, not a full hour. Which makes me think, how far away is Smelly Nellie's from their house?
Fucking far. Because
she couldn't have been there more than like 5 to 10 minutes. And it took her 57 minutes. So it has to be at least like 20 to 25 minute ride from their house. That's just something that's very interesting to me.
Yeah, because he's like, it's been an hour. And I'm like, what?
I just think because like Derek works there they go there frequently. It just seems like something that they would be able to walk to almost, but I guess not. No context, Paul. Is Fireball whiskey good?
No.
Is it whiskey?
Yes. I think so.
Yeah, cinnamon whiskey.
This is an American thing. No, it's Canadian.
Fireball.
There we go. It has been posted.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Alright, this is almost over. So then, finally, Max asks Casey to be his girlfriend. She was like, oh, I thought you never asked. And then they kiss.
Ah, disgusting.
So then at the next scene, we see Nora and George come back home to find Derek and Casey doing the dishes together.
Disgusting.
Being very domestic looking. Cooperating. Basically saying, and they basically just tell Nora and George, like, oh, the weekend was great. Derek was a big help. The kids were great.
No.
And, they're like, all right, well, we're going to go. And then once they leave, George is like, something happened. He's like, I could tell that there was lying here. And Nora's like, everything seems to be in order. Nothing seems broken. She's just like, let's just not worry about it right now. And that's how the episode ended. But I find it interesting that George was able to tell that they were lying. Because I didn't think they were lying that badly. They were just acting weird. But,
Don't you know? Alright, this is the worst episode ever. Because fucking podcasting issues.
I mean, I think once I edit all of it, all these 9 little recordings, it won't be too bad. But
oh no, we're naming it the Misadventure in podcasting. That's a good one, I know, right?
So I'm just gonna go into our thing. So, hey Ashley, do you still write Life with Derek fanfiction for the fandom? No.
Yes, Ashley.
I haven't written anything for Dasey in years.
Maybe you should.
Maybe, but I don't know. I'm not in that headspace anymore. I have certain plot bunnies, but nothing too...
What a word. Plot bunnies. It's been a long time since I've heard that term.
But nothing too concrete to actually write anything.
Mm-hmm.
Also, what do you think about an AU of Life with Derek taking place in the 2010s instead of 2000s?
Let me tell you. It'd be chaos.
Derek would be on Tinder, I think, all the time.
I feel like Derek would be more of a fuckboy than he already is.
Yeah. And Casey, I feel like there would be an episode where Casey's just, doesn't know what to deal with. She'd be obsessing over someone's social media thing or something.
God.
Max posted this. So I'm just
gotta get my
Snapchat,
Instagram selfie.
Or they find out Truman's cheating because of
Instagram.
Yeah, something like that. And the whole school knows just because it's more
no, it's too much chaos. I couldn't see it.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of chaos.
I would want to commit.
Okay, well, yeah. So, I don't know. I just think that there would be a lot more cell phone stuff because right now you see cell phones, but they aren't so prevalent.
It's true. You got the flippies. They're like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Snap.
Derek, he was tied up this episode. He'd be like, Alexa, call
Siri, call Casey.
Yeah.
Did you mean calling Gracie?
Yeah. I could see that being funny too. It's just
Ugh.
I don't know. I don't know what else would really be too different. I feel like Edwin might have his own business up and going already. He'd have something on Etsy or something. I don't know.
Hell yeah.
He'd have some website up where he'd be doing something, I think. And I think Lizzie would be more involved with like social justice things.
Social justice. We have lost hearing.
Hey everyone, this is Ashley here. As you could probably see from some of the audio, we had a really hard time with this episode for some reason. The audio just kept dropping every so often. So sorry if some things are a little bit jumbled when you're listening to it. But also, this is where it got cut off when we were going over questions. So we stopped there. Vanessa got annoyed, so she was like, I'm done. So this is where it ends. Sorry I couldn't get this to you guys earlier, but Happy New Year to everyone, and hopefully there will be more episodes this year. Alright, see ya. Bye-bye.